What up, OGs, man? How are y'all feeling? It's episode 58 going down right now at the OG HQ. Man, I am super hyped on this episode. This is a good one for me, man. We're bringing back a fan favorite guest. Man, I just want to get right into this one because I'm excited. I know my guest's excited, and this has been a long time coming, man. So today's guest for episode 58 is a violinist, a photographer, and a men's fashion enthusiast. Some of you may know him as the Sockateur or the Sockateur, or remember him from episode 6, season 1 of the OG Sessions podcast. Man, please give a round of applause for my brother Jordan Mixson.
What's up, everybody?
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good.
Dude,
I'm
I am
really good.
I am so glad to have you back.
It's so good to be back.
Episode 6, bro.
Right?
It's like we were just talking about it. So episode 6, like that was when this was all just kind of like a dream. You know what I'm saying? Like we recorded this first episode right over there on the coffee table.
Yes.
Like there was no visuals, there was no studio, there was no quality microphones, it was just like, let me get started and find, the coolest people I can and just try to get this thing off the ground. And dude, you're like, you were really one of the first people who jumped on the pod and did an episode with me that I wasn't like super close friends with beforehand. So like I knew when I first started I'd have at least 5 friends that I could get on the podcast that are like people I feel really comfortable talking to. I know we can have a good conversation. I know we can just like start off the season well. But then you come in, you're like my first like essentially like random person that I didn't know beforehand. And dude, that's like still to this day one of my favorite conversations. Like just the way that we were just bouncing off each other and just made that episode work.
Wow. Well, first I have to say you've done an incredible job with the space. It's
Thank
just you. Like I'm like, Nick is growing up. I'm like, that's my baby.
Yeah, for real, man. No, seriously. Like you've seen this shit go from literally like 0 to 100 essentially.
Yeah.
With a lot of this stuff. Pull the microphone just a little bit closer to your mouth so I can hear you better.
Here we go.
So we can get that quality. You can, and if you want to lean back, you can grab this like little triangle and just kind of like pull it towards you and do whatever. Because, yeah, man, this conversation is going to be good. Got to make sure our people get that good quality from us, man.
I'm going to give y'all some good stuff.
So
I'll do my best.
Before we get started, when you first came in, I think you were in the process of making the transition from the Sockateur. Sockateur, right?
Right.
Okay, it's like entrepreneur, but Sockateur.
Yeah, it was. The Sockateur name was based off of, that was something that my sister came up with. Because I was collecting all these fun socks. And it was a play off the word connoisseur.
Got you, okay.
And then Sockateur is where that came from. And then it just grew into, from me being like a niche blogger, into now more as I think of myself as more of a Floridian menswear blogger, just kind of leaning heavy on that end. The sock game is still in play. When you see my feed, you'll still see the sock game in there, but it's just grown to incorporate a little bit more of like just that, my interpretation of Florida living.
Did you feel like that name kind of puts you in a box in a certain aspect? Because it's like you don't want to be just, I mean, you are like such a big like menswear blogger. It's like you do all kinds of menswear. It's not like you're just socks, and you don't want people to kind of just see the name or just kind of see the vibe and be like, oh, is this guy just only doing like one specific side of it?
So that's a great question, because in some ways I think it was sort of putting me in a box, even though I had the feed that would indicate otherwise, where I'm like, well, hey, here's a portrait shot, here's a food shot. And I would try to connect all of those things and bring some context into my photos. And then here's me wearing a look from Express. Yeah. And with Express, they're not like big into the sock game like that. I mean, they have them, but when you look at what they're advertising, they don't really lean on that. Yeah. That sort of thing. So you got to play ball, because I love that brand, and you would see me wearing looks from them, and you still do. And so I just felt like it was time to kind of switch or shift that name branding wise from the Sockateur to my name, just Jordan Mixson _ Yeah. Now the funny thing is, on my website, if you still typed in the Sockateur.com, it will still take you to a new website, or I could just say jordanmixson.com, and same thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? That's really interesting.
I don't even remember how I did that.
Yeah,
I was
so
on Square.
Do you own the name, the domain, the soccer tour as well? Okay, gotcha. That's nice.
It's mine.
That's awesome.
You can't have it.
Yep.
Just letting y'all know, like, don't you steal from me.
You ain't getting it. So
this is me.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's kind of a cool a cool thing that you were talking about, how you just kind of started going with your name. Do you feel like there's a little bit of an added pressure whenever you're using your name as opposed to just a brand name per se?
Not necessarily. It's funny because now that there are ones that I still run into out and about around town that will still call me the sock guy.
Yeah, I see.
And there is sort of a sense of like, I think some kind of miss how things were originally. And it's all part of an evolution. Like, I didn't like curtail and say, no more sock game, no more of that, but just, I'm 35 and I'll be 36 soon. Instagram has changed in the past 11 years. And as we've seen, it continues to evolve, add things, maybe
some good, some bad.
Good, some bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And because of that, when you grow, so does your audience. And I really kind of wanted to make things still interesting for me, but also the interest and the questions that I would get from my followers when it comes to, well, what do I wear to a date? What do I wear when I'm going to a concert or I'm going out of town? Because, we're here in Florida, but we definitely love our traveling too.
100%.
And, but then you have your core audience that, they don't maybe not necessarily do a whole lot of traveling, but they're going to live the Florida life where we're dealing with sun 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those sock questions don't really come into play like that. I might add it in. It just really depends on what they're asking. And so that kind of got me thinking about how I wanted to grow my content a bit more, kind of broaden it, or maybe not so much as, well, broaden it, but also refine it, but maintain the integrity of how I started.
Still be you.
It still be me.
Yeah.
But, it's an evolution.
Yeah, I love it. I think you evolved really well into the name, and I think that you've definitely. I've noticed a huge difference in like your growth ever since you switched to the new name, because it seems like now you're really just going off into different branches and doing like tons of new stuff.
Yeah.
And trying new styles and just really putting yourself out there in a different way. I like it.
It definitely was the smart move to make, because it opened up the doors for other brands to work with me. And then when I'm pitching myself to brands, I'm showing this is my versatility.
Yeah.
This is my Instagram, and then also more of my work on my website.
How do you pitch yourself to a brand?
Depending on the brand, I know a lot of people still do the DM game, which is fine, but I find it more professional to send an email. And oftentimes, too, they prefer that approach where I'm looking for a problem that I think could be solved with the use of my services. And my creative point of view in how to activate an audience that they haven't, or a demographic that brand hasn't necessarily considered. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I come at it from the angle of, well, I can see from what I gather from your demographics that you have Floridian customers, but you don't have Floridian representation of a blogger that knows how to speak to them. And also where your brand, if we're talking about a menswear line, like I'm wearing, like actually what I'm wearing right now is Dandy Del Mar. And that is a Californian-based brand, and we have a really great relationship where I feel like Florida life and California life sort of overlap. There's a lot of definite, beach life.
Similar weather.
There's a similar interest in the similar way of how we like to dress, comfort and just cozy. And we're just trying to stay cool 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And so I made a pitch to them about, hey, I really think this is a really great brand that would speak well, that would resonate well to a Floridian audience here. Most of my followers are men, and the materials of your clothes, I think that would be perfect if you allow me the opportunity to show your brand in a way that would appeal to a Floridian audience. And I find that approach, where you're trying to sell them the value, ultimately, and really fill in the blank of what's missing. I'd like to take an inventory of what they have and then figure out where could I enhance that.
Gotcha.
And through the use of my style and photography that also complements them as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to go at somebody. Like, is just telling them that you kind of have the audience, or you kind of know how to speak to a specific audience, as opposed to, because I feel like a lot of people, especially, I don't know about the men's like blogger things, whatever, but you know, like a lot of influencers or people that are trying to just like be like a brand ambassador or somebody for whatever, because we got this the brand with Off Grid all the time. People reaching out and they're like, you know, it'd be like, oh, I'll wear your stuff all the time, do all this. It's like that is kind of important, but like in the end of the day, it's like, who are you going to be influencing, like with some of these things? It's like you're not actually directly speaking to anybody about this kind of stuff. You would just be kind of rocking the clothes. It would kind of just be like a cosign type thing,
right?
And that's always good. But I like the approach you take of it, as to where like you're directly like, you know, giving your input on like these certain outfits, and it's like more of a like deeper connection with the audience, as opposed to just like they see you wearing some outfit, you know. So that's an interesting way to go at it. I like that.
Yeah, I prefer it. And also too, don't just be honest in what you can offer, and focus. I like to focus on the value of what I'm offering, and also I can show the receipts too of like when there's, especially when it comes to more like paid collaborations, where typically speaking, brands want to see some numbers from that.
For sure.
I would just tell anybody, never overpromise, or I would lean on over delivering than over promising, because it comes back to bite you. And pretty soon, if a savvy person from that brand that is educated in analytics, and certain etiquette and how you promote a product, and you know, compare that to what you said you were going to do versus what you did or didn't do, they're not going to work with you again.
100%.
Oh, yeah. If you get marked, you will get marked for sure.
That word will get around probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that's another thing. Brands talk to each other. A lot of different, you think that, oh, yeah, there's tons and tons of brands out there. Sure. But if you do your homework, go to LinkedIn. That's another tip. A lot of people don't do that as much.
A lot of people do not do LinkedIn.
And a lot of times, certain brand deals come from forming relationships through who you connect with on LinkedIn. But ultimately, you have to sell your value. You just can't come at it with a sense of an entitlement and be like, well, I have this many followers, therefore you should give me clothes or whatever.
Yeah, that's like one of the cringiest DMs, man. Like,
it is.
I mean, it's like, I get it. I definitely get it, especially like when people are first starting off. Like, you're not going to know how to do everything, and you're not going to know how to send the perfect message. But it's like, dude, I would get so many messages, and it'd be just like it'd be basically just them tooting their own horn for like 3 paragraphs, and then they'd be like, if you could send me like 3 or 4 clothes, I'll have all my friends loving the brand. And I'm like, dude, like, it's all love, bro, but like that's just not good business. You know what I mean? And it's not very professional on their end to approach like that. You know, it's not a good look. But I mean, I do know that there has been brands out there that have benefit off of doing that exact strategy. Right. So it's all like, you know, it's your own discretion, I guess.
It really depends on what it is. I think too, on the flip side, brands also have to understand what type of influencer or content creator you're trying to reach out to, because if it is what I call an awareness campaign, there are people that are good at spreading awareness, but not necessarily good in converting to sales.
Gotcha.
But then you have those content creators that literally can do both.
Wow. Okay.
In certain scenarios, and then you have ones that, you know, the superstars that are just kind of like, you know, whatever it could be, it doesn't matter. They just have that type of that magnetism about themselves where people will follow them to the ends of the earth, and they could sell anything. So there's various degrees. So there is a part of the responsibility of someone on the outreach and the marketing team to do your due diligence, to really scrutinize who you're considering giving money to promote a product or whatever type of campaign. And content creators have to also realize too that mature brands are looking at you as a part of your one cog in a larger machine, because they divested funds into other aspects of marketing.
Oh, sure.
And you're just one part of a grand tapestry of stuff. So that's where you have to know your parameters and what you are what's expected out of,
what
and
you're
also
bringing to the table,
and also just be really upfront on what you can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's really helped me. Well, I know that's what's really helped me a lot when it comes to just being transparent. And it's been great.
Obviously, everyone's got like certain weaknesses, but you're one of those guys where you got tons of strengths, man. Like, where would you say is one of your biggest strong points with doing stuff like this?
Oh man, I think one of my strengths, which is something I haven't done in a while, is putting on smaller events in collaboration with a local business. Like, I used to do cocktail classes with certain bars like Domu, and that's a really good example of how to prove your worth and how you can. I'm just giving some tips out here how you can negotiate your prices too.
Yeah,
like if you're trying to go up, you can't just throw random numbers out there. But I'll give you an example of how a really good way to add value to your own personal brand. So I'll use Domu for example. And if Justin's listening, hey Justin,
what's up, Justin?
Yeah. So the idea at the time was to have a small class, and you would learn how to make 2 or 3 cocktails, I believe, at the time, and we would use ticket links to like track sales, and I would be responsible. I positioned myself to be responsible for the photography as well as the marketing of it. I was largely using my own channel, my own page for that. And we sold out.
Wow.
We sold out in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
About 2 weeks. And little things like that goes a long way with proving your worth to a brand, and also locally. And those are type of things that you can use for any content creators out there that are trying to figure out, well, how do I get a brand to work with me? You got to build a resume, and you also have to take a risk, because it's also kind of stressful.
Yeah.
At the same time, hoping that, oh God, someone support me. Most of the majority of the folks that attended the class were my actual followers.
Got you.
And which is why it's really cool. It's really important to develop a close relation. Try to develop a closeness with your ride or dies, because you have all types of followers. But then I try to give most of my energy as much as possible to the people that show up for me. So I got to make sure I show up for them, and things like that will happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like that. And actions speak louder than words. Like
Absolutely.
what you were saying is like, I mean, you can talk the talk all day, but like when you actually bring in sales or you bring in numbers, it's like, say less. Nothing speaks louder than that. So,
And when you're also something like, when I've sold socks too, that's like the Bold Bean socks that did really, really well at the time.
I remember those did really good.
Oh yeah. Those did really well. The Ardwolf socks, which, if anyone from Jack's listening knows of Ardwolf Brewery, I made a whole custom set of socks for them.
And I believe we spoke about that in episode 6 too. I think you were in the process of working on it or something in episode 6.
It was after. I think I referred to it, but I didn't talk a whole lot about it.
Gotcha.
It was a lesser known project. Everybody knows me for the Bold Bean socks, but after that came the Argyle. It was a playoff of the Argyle, like an Argyle print.
Yeah.
And those did really well too. We had like a really fun release party and a custom IPA for the whole event. So it's like, it was really an orange dreamsicle IPA. Hey, Art Wolf Pam, if anyone's listening,
bring that back, please, ASAP.
Well, I will say that this year's their 10-year anniversary. So we're talking about things.
Ooh, new socks, possibly new socks. Is that what we're hearing?
mean, we're talking.
It'd be pretty sweet if you got like you guys did like a small little merch line, like a whole line would be something cool. I don't know. Well, we'll stay tuned and we'll stay excited for that one. Yeah,
2023.
So mark your calendars, baby. This shit's gonna be. It's gonna be a good drop. I'm excited for it.
The planning starts now.
Yeah,
that's how. Yeah, I've had to learn that the hard way. Like, oh, you really need to start now,
dude. And I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of people sleep on is like planning ahead and doing things like that. A lot of people will just jump into something and be like, all right, next month we're dropping this or whatever, when they haven't done any piece of work yet. And what happens is you end up kind of setting the ceiling for yourself very low, because there's only so much a human can accomplish in a certain period of time, and if you're not in the position to like just pump out content or pump out different pieces or whatever it is, it's like, and I'm with the brand, dude. There were times where I struggled to keep the consistent seasonal launch or drops going. Like it'd be coming up on winter time. It'd be like the end of summer or like middle fall or whatever, and I'd be starting to think about winter, and I'm like, in reality, like this winter line won't be ready till like January, February, and so there's so, like what you were saying with plan ahead. It's like, dude, that is key, especially, and it's cool whenever you can kind of hype something up for a long period of time. You're going to have a lot of people that are kind of like itching to get it, excited to check it out, and they know they're going to get some high quality stuff too, since it took so long.
You need to come to the party.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'd love to, man. I'd love to. That's for sure. So another big thing that just happened, the Super Bowl of Ponte Vedra. TPC Sawgrass.
Oh my!
Look, if you're a men's fashion enthusiast, this is like your fucking show, man. This is like, it's
the time.
It's everyone. This is like I said, it's the Ponte Vedra Super Bowl. Like everyone in Ponte Vedra, this is where they dig deep into their closet and grab the pieces that are the most flamboyant, the most colorful pieces. You know what I'm saying? You always see guys out there and they're rocking like the crazy. I do love seeing people rock the vintage Jaguar gear. Like you see some people rocking the vintage Jags polo. And
I like that.
That kind of surprised me with how much people wear that. But then you got the guys out there wearing like the button downs with all the dope floral, patterns on it. Yes. And I'm a big fan of that shit, bro. Like I love when a dude can pull off like
the florals.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a really it's a bold piece to wear sometimes. Yeah. Like I love it. It just stands out. And
well, I always said if I was governor of Florida, dictator style governor of Florida, I would make the floral shirt the state shirt of Florida.
What is it right now? Is there a state shirt?
No.
Okay, I'm
just saying that when I take over,
I
just feel like it should be, because it's so prevalent, and it's just a quintessential. That is a quintessential Floridian style that you see floral shirts all year round here. But especially, guys get more brave and fun. I'm just like, the TPC is fun.
100%.
Even if you don't know what's going on in golf, I'm just going to be the first to tell you. Well, I don't know what's going on.
80% of the people that are there don't know what's going on. Actually, I'm going to say 90% of the people there don't know what's going on. No. They're there for the social event.
No,
it's the same crowd there for the concert as there is the damn
it's like,
show.
Hey, fam. Last year, what's going on? But yeah, a lot of people are going for, the whole area is just beautiful.
Yeah.
There's many parties. The weather is great. Even if you don't entirely know what's going on, you can get the sense, you can still engage with it and appreciate what these guys are doing on the court with just I hope I'm saying that right. But these different locations where they're just trying to like focus, and just that quiet intensity of them making sure they are accurate as possible, and watching all of that up close. It's really, really compelling. It's really cool.
I totally agree. Yeah.
It's also low key a great place to network. Just saying. That's a whole lot. I don't think it gets talked about enough how
100%.
TPC is also a great place to network if you know where to go.
And the damn tickets are $80, so you're going to be networking with people with some money there. That's cool. So you did some work with them.
Yes.
So tell me about this.
So since our last conversation, I joined 904 Happy Hour.
Let's fucking go, man. Round of applause for that one. That's sick, man. That's if for those that aren't in the 904 in Jacksonville, that is a huge like network, 904 Happy Hour. They're like, you see them, they're always getting photos of like the big events going on around Jax,
right.
always, blogging and talking about what's going on in the city. Like they are like our little news network for the people that don't live in Jax. So
right.
That's huge, man.
So 904 Happy Hour is one part a community page, online page, and then it's also a digital social media marketing agency. Mm-hmm. So it's a super small team started by Charles Wagner. And then me and Charles actually go way back, where we have sort of a parallel trajectory where it was just, when he started 904 Happy Hour, I think it was just him and two other people. And then when I started as a Sakator, I was also anonymous. No one really knew who I was. It was just, I had an anonymous way of taking photos. But offline, we would cross paths at many different types of events, and we're aware of each other. And so it's just funny now that, 904 Happy Hour blew up big time, especially during COVID and lockdown. The growth skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. And I was coming out of a place where I was working for, UPS for a bit of time, and then FedEx got into an accident. Just bringing y'all up to speed and how 904 comes into this. I got into a horrible accident.
Car accident.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I hate FedEx. Don't work for FedEx.
Yeah,
horrible. Don't. Not here. I'm just saying, guys. You don't want to do it.
Just stay away, man.
Just be aware that certain machines should work. And we'll leave it at that.
Amen to that.
Oh, man. So trying to come out of that situation, 904 reached out to me because they were in the process of adding on one more person to the team. And I wasn't fully aware about it. So one of my followers actually sent me a post saying they were hiring. And I was like, oh, okay. So I, applied. And then I would see Charles and at certain events since then. And we finally got around to talking and meeting the team. And it just made sense. It was the perfect timing. And since then, joining 904, it's been like every day is something incredibly different, where it's a different form of what I like to tell folks. I'm full-time content creating.
Yeah.
I'm literally working for Jacksonville on all types of marketing campaigns. And yet I still retain the agency of my own brand.
Yeah.
Which was very important to me. And something that Charles, also being a content creator in his own right, absolutely understands. So with TPC is a client. And what was really interesting about that is learning the ins and outs of where you can go, where you can shoot, because it is an absolutely enormous event. And I learned there's a few parameters to keep in mind. We were really focusing on shooting the fan experience, but TPC, for those that don't know, has business relationships with ESPN and Getty Images, which Getty Images is a professional organization of photographers that work with all types of industries. And because of that, there are places that, contractually speaking, they can only shoot golfers.
Got you. Okay,
so
I see.
The challenge is you're going to the event, and how do you document everything else that's going on, which it sounds easy, but sometimes it's not. Because the one thing with taking on this gig is I've done a whole lot more event photography. I was never a stranger to it. I've just you do it a lot more, which is really good. Where you go to folks, say, "Hey, can I take your picture?" But for me, I was like, I'm looking for the style.
Yeah,
I'm looking for the style.
You're looking for like those. Like,
I'm trying to look for like where are my individualists?
Yeah,
out there, 100%. Because TPC is a place where you can really, really just go off. That's kind of the point.
100%.
Just go off and be you.
For sure.
Enjoy yourself.
And for those that don't know, TPC it's the Players Championship. It's a golf tournament on tour. It's one of the biggest purses on tour. It's like it's not just a big event for the city. Like people come in from the whole state to come to this tournament. This is like it's the Players Championship. So it's like for a lot of these guys, you know, to win the TPC is like the biggest day of their lives. And so yeah, back to what you were saying. I just wanted to give them that little side thing because I'm sure there's going to be some people some of our Switzerland listeners listen to this like, what the fuck's a TPC? You know what I mean? So
we'll come down to Florida and find out.
Seriously, next March, you guys better be in here, man.
Yes,
it's such a fun event.
Oh yes, even there's something even about being in traffic for it is kind of fun. I don't know why that. I know I sound crazy.
No. You can roll down the window and like look at the people next to you, and you guys are both just like jamming out.
You know what it is? There is that pride. There is a city pride, and knowing that this is a big premier event that showcases a part of our home state, and that's the energy that I felt went the entire time that me and my teammates, we were covering different sectors of the whole event, where a lot of people are just in a great mood. People are in a great mood and like, yeah, I'll take a photo, which, you know, that's, I think because of the fact that it's like all eyes on us. And I think some people have misconceptions of Florida and forget about big things like that. When the people think about Florida, I still think to this day, they tend to want to think about South Florida quicker than Northeast Florida.
For sure.
With TPC being one of the exceptions, then we have the Jaguars. There's a couple of other things.
Yeah.
And culturally speaking, I think that is a really good snapshot of Northeast Florida life and how, you know, how we engage that and how we support events like the Players Championship.
Yeah.
And so being there, it was a lot of fun shooting a lot of different people, actually running into some people. That's the other thing. You run into so many people that you love or like, oh God, why did I date you?
Yeah, but there's also certain, like, I mean, for me, dude, like my family, I mean, growing up, my dad, my uncles, my grandpa, all of them huge golf fans.
Oh yeah.
So like, dude, when I go to the TPC and you're just like walking from one hole to the next and you look over and there's Tiger or there's Phil Mickelson or some of these guys, you're just like kind of starstruck, bro. It's cool, man. And TPC is, or I guess just golf in general, is one of those events where, I mean, literally you could be Tiger fucking Woods, the biggest golfer to ever play the game, and you're standing 3 feet away from him while he's playing. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those things. There's no other sport like that, you know?
That's true.
Where you're not in a direct, like, a stadium or like something where like you have a spot and you're there the whole time and you're way up in the thing unless you want to pay a couple $1,000s to be like even then still 20 yards away from the players. But
and don't forget our Lord and Savior Trevor Lawrence showed up too.
Dude, that was
crazy.
Now, his fit was actually kind of fire. Actually, shout out Trevor Lawrence, bro.
Trevor and his wife Marissa, if I remember, I believe that's her name. I was like, they're like, that's a stylish couple there.
They are. They're a good looking couple, dude. I would love.
That's my goal. I'm gonna get a portrait. I'm coming for you, Trevor, but not in a creepy way. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm coming for Trevor too, man. If I could ever get him on this pod, bro, that is like
game over.
I'll just shut the pod down. We're just like that's. I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish at that point. Checked off my boxes. The pod has done its job. We're out.
It should be like do it at his place, like special episode.
Yes,
at Trevor's. He got the space.
Or on the field somewhere. Like I get the Jag Stadium somewhere, the field in the background. Cool. Whoo, dude, like some ESPN style like interview shit.
That would be really cool.
That would be. But what were some of your favorite takeaways from that event, man? Like what's something that you really did you feel like you grew a lot as a photographer? Because for that event
absolutely.
Your job is you're a photographer at that event.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're taking pictures of like men's fashion and things like that. That's like the goal. Okay.
I don't leave it just to men's fashion. I'm just looking for style in general. And I think one of the takeaways which reinforces how I shoot anyway is you need to be really particular, be specific. Look for standout couples, or not even couples per se, but just individuals that just stick out in the crowd where you see, because to be honest, there's also a lot of folks that wear the same thing at TPC where it's just kind of like, like
Wow,
5 of you are wearing the same
Yeah.
thing. That's not interesting to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
But if I'm finding somebody that has like this really cool, we'll just use a floral shirt, for example. Really cool floral shirt with these nice slacks or shorts, cool sneakers or something of that nature. That I'm a sucker for color. I'm always hunting for color, and sometimes mixed patterns. Just someone is like, "Oh, you were brave with that," and it actually looks cool. And sometimes, like, I like a fun clash, things of that nature. I kind of being at that event because you're just surrounded by thousands of people, like all migrating, shifting to one end of the course to another end of the course. There's multiple things happening, and you have to be diligent and say, okay, either you're going to have the courage to go up to that person and say, hey, I would love to take your photo. And then I'm like, and here's a sticker. Here's a 904 sticker.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, people love stickers. That's what I learned.
Dude, that is the key to anyone's heart is a sticker. And it's one of those things where it's like,
grown adults,
you can give out literally, and you can give. I mean, when I first started the brand, I was doing the business card thing, and you can do the business cards, and business cards are great. Like, I'm not dissing a business card, but if you want to actually make sure that that's like, first off, so if I were to hand you a business card, you'll take it. You might use it for reference to look at one day, but that business card, for the most part, like maybe once in a blue moon, you're never passing that business card on to anybody else, you know?
Right.
You're not marketing my business with that business card. But if you get a sticker, bro, you're going to put that sticker on a water bottle. You're going to put it on your laptop. You're going to take it and, you might slap it on a stop sign or somewhere. I mean, that sticker will then be seen by Lord knows how many people.
Yes.
But just not only that, like then that person, the person you gave that sticker to will then also still be looking at that sticker and be reminded of you with that. So it's like, it's stickers are really an interesting way.
Yes.
I mean, I think in my opinion, it's one of the most slept on ways to market anything.
Yeah.
For sure.
I have a newfound appreciation for stickers. That's for sure.
Yeah. And
904, there is no shortage of stickers. We have stickers for years.
that's the way to go, man.
Actually, I've been campaigning for I want new designs. People love the lion design. No, it's the jaguar design. I keep saying lion.
It does kind of look like a lion.
It's the most popular one I find. So I tend to want to use those versus some of the other stickers. But people go mad for them. Yeah. But in that sense, and it also lowers a hint of distrust because I'm going up to someone, you've never seen me, you don't know me. For all you know, I could be some creeper, but at the same time, to get this far, because for those of you who don't know, TPC security is lit. Those folks do not play.
Not at all.
I got turned around on day one when I came this time, and I was like, I actually have the proper credentials to let me in because they're so used to. There's a different method in how they were letting camera bags in. It's more digitized. There's a digital ticket for that.
Gotcha.
Versus having, for what I understand, some kind of ribbon that indicates that this person is media. But I went back around. I'm like, no, let me in, bro.
Yeah.
So it does lower people's sort of first, I guess, suspicion.
Yeah.
And when you're wearing 904 gear too, it also helps. But even with that still doesn't necessarily mean anything because keep in mind, there are people come from all over. So just because you say 904, that doesn't mean anything to some people.
And like we said, there's 90% of these people, they're not going there to watch golf. They're going there for the social event.
Exactly.
But for the 10% of people that are going there to watch golf, they do not want someone coming up to them and saying, "Can I take your fucking picture?" They want to watch golf. Right. This is what they wait for all year. And so,
some of them want to watch golf, but some of them are like, "Hi."
Oh, some of them have
they're literally standing there to be seen.
Yeah.
Literally. I do. That is kind of my hack. I do like to find my narcissists at the TPC. I can tell there'll be a girl or a guy or a couple, and they're both kind of they're standing around "Thank you." Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Look at all of this. Don't you want to take a shot at this?
You want this angle or
no, I definitely found those.
Yeah.
They're actually kind of fun. They're easier to shoot because they're in their mind they're already a celebrity. Or maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, if you're giving off, hey, I just go by energy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I will still take shots that are very candid because kind of sticks to a little bit of my street roots in shooting. So, and that is also more interesting in of itself. But I would say to anybody, it's a good exercise to improve your social skills and how you engage with people, as well as take risks and get that shot, because there are certain shots you're never going to get from asking a person. You just have to make a decision whether you're going to do it or you don't.
Yeah.
Or you might regret that moment that could, that really helps tell the story.
Yeah.
So it was a great time. I had a great time with that.
Yeah.
It definitely improved. I learned a lot with improving my skill set when it comes to shooting events like that.
I remember we were talking a little bit about on social media whenever we were setting this episode up, and it was right before the TBC was about to happen. You were telling me about how you're going to go shoot it and all these different things, and and that just seems like the perfect field for you to be out there,
oh, I love it.
Working in. It's like that's right up your alley, man. As far as men's fashion, as far as your style of men's fashion as well. That's I feel like that. You definitely didn't have a problem choosing an outfit for that event, I'm sure. But
oh yeah,
that's pretty good.
I also do community spotlight, which is there's that blogging component. So what that is, it's a comeback for the 904 Happy Hour brand where I find individuals in the Jax community that are essentially just doing cool things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an individual, but an organization that is engaged in maybe it's some kind of nonprofit, or maybe it's a small business that doesn't have online marketing per se, but there's just a really cool story. Or there's some sort of art initiative, like a revitalization project going on in town. I get to cover those stories on my own. And I've done some things with artist Elena Olander, who is a local artist here in Jacksonville, that her art in of itself has Asian and European influences into that, also speaks to her heritage, her mixed heritage. And she gets involved in revitalization projects. So one project that I got to come in on was a project over in the east side of Jacksonville. And that was a really cool situation where there were muralists that were a part of this beautification project. And it was something that the Jaguars Foundation was also involved in and help boosting or help providing assistance for small businesses in that area. So I actually go down as more like a journalist and talking to individuals and taking their photos, where that style of photography is so different in of itself, where you are telling it's a form of a journalistic style of shooting, but then I also do a write-up for the website. So
you're
that's
another
component.
Shoot a story is in a sense.
Yeah.
You're trying to paint the picture for them, while also to make it go along with what you're going to be putting about in the blog.
Right. It's like a portrait series in of itself.
Gotcha. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. I like that.
And that's another component to my job at 904 Happy Hour. So that's something too that I get to enjoy. So with this job, I'm shooting a lot more, way more, 3 times as much.
I love that, man.
And it's been great for refining my skills and also building upon, expanding upon other areas that I needed some improvement in.
Yeah, and I feel like that's great practice, man. Being out there with how you see them at every event. So it's so cool. You get to be out there and kind of get to see the behind the scenes of a lot of these things too.
Yeah.
And you were saying with networking, it's dude, networking is probably key with that.
Oh my gosh,
you get to meet so many people, have those behind the scenes conversations.
Oh yes,
I love shit like that.
It is when I think week 1, I was blown away by all these things that are going on. Some things I can't talk about yet. But there's so much going on in this city, and it's almost overwhelming. And also exciting because there's so many new players entering the field.
Yeah.
In Jax that sees the potential of where there's a lot of potential in the economic and cultural sense. And that's I lean more in the cultural and arts spectrum of Jax that I'm heavily involved in.
Yeah.
And you hear about all these different initiatives that are coming into play, like new nonprofit organizations or an expansion of community events or new community events that are in the works as we speak. We get wind of that, and then we try to figure out how can we help? How do we fit with what that person's goal is for that organization. That's a lot of what 904 Happy Hour is.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of things that's, also for the sake of just putting out positive news.
Yeah, I love it, man. They really, you guys really, really help push like this local city, like just all the local brands in the city and just like the city in general, and like contribute to that growth. Like, shit means a lot, dude. I
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, dude.
With the networking aspect to it, it definitely allows me to flex a little bit when it comes to, I get to wear certain things that I normally don't always wear as much. There's certain galas, or there's something a little bit more casual. Mm-hmm. So it definitely allows me that opportunity to sort of like dress accordingly.
Yeah.
I still believe in dress for the job that you want.
Yeah. 100%.
Because it's also, you're going on, it's like a different kind of an interview. Yeah, there are many people that want to work with 904, but I look at it in the sense of like, I'm dressing, if I'm going to, let's just say, we'll use an example. It's kind of a funny situation that happened. There was a party at TPC.
Okay.
It was a networking party. And it was at a mansion in Ponte Vedra. And most of the people, I had no idea who they were. I'm like, I don't know who you are. But it's funny for me that as a previous UPS driver, I've been in the area.
Yeah.
It just hits different now.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay. So it's like
a little bit of a different outfit on, probably some more colors than brown.
Oh yeah. So I'm wearing a suit. And it's interesting how, how one's engaged with you that way. And it was raining. Someone fell in the pool.
Oh, God.
3 times.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
She wanted it. It's just kind of, it was a fun time.
Those rich Ponte Vedra people get rowdy, man. That's people they don't realize.
Came to learn. But it was a great lesson in networking do's and don'ts.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you can be in a fantastic outfit, but if you're unruly.
Were you shooting that event?
I was not.
Okay, so.
Oh, I wish I would. There were videographers there.
A question that I have for you. Man.
Yes.
So this is kind of one that's.
You're scaring me.
An interesting
it's
one. What are some of the biggest like photographer pet peeves when shooting with a client? Like. I think because we've got a lot of brands in here. We've got a lot of of just people. A lot of people that follow the podcast are kind of on their own grind, doing their own thing, and I feel like it's good to just kind of like give them a little bit of the photographer's perspective of, just like trying to help your photographer as much as you can.
Because there's so many different scenarios of what the kind of shot or what type of photo shoot it is. I would say the biggest thing is just the lack of communication of what you are asking for versus what you want. If you're telling me, I don't want this, I don't want that, I'm getting a lot more no's than versus more clarity on what this shoot is. For example, if we're like, before the shoot even starts, I would recommend clients to be specific in, I'm looking for headshots. Versus, I just need you to take photos of me. Yeah. When you give very vague stuff, you're putting a lot of pressure on the photographer to like figure out whatever. It's your vision.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a visionary in a different sense. There are definite principles that I won't bend for, because by the end of the day, you're hiring my style.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I will just give some tips in general. So one thing, when it comes to like taking photos, I would recommend make sure you tag the photographer. Please tag the photographer. But one of my biggest pet peeves is taking a photographer's edit and doing something radically different to it, and think that we won't see what you did. Like if you're adding bluish tones, changing skin tones to something that's like, I'm more of a purist in that sense. So when it comes to portrait work, I pay a lot of attention to a person's skin tone, and you're also paying attention to the light. There's a lot of other factors going on.
Yeah.
It can be really insulting to the photographer if you're taking that person's photo that spent hours, or maybe not necessarily hours, but has a specific process based off of the environment that the photo was taken in, and also there's time constraints and deadlines where, you hire this person and put faith in that person to present you in a favorable light for what you're looking for. But when you take that photo and do something completely different to it, I look at it as, that's not my photo.
Yeah, 100%.
That's not my photo.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people go into hiring a photographer, and in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm hiring you, you're working for me, it's my shots, or it's my call, at the end of the day on whatever we do.
Yes.
But in reality, it's like, you need to look at it as a collaboration.
Yes.
It's like, you're in, and also a lot of people don't do their due diligence in researching the photographer that they want.
Yeah.
They just go and hire like the first name, or they just go and hire like, someone who they see worked with someone they know on Instagram. It's like, no, if you're looking to shoot, a specific type of shot with this kind of lens outside with this kind of lighting, and you're trying to emulate this exact person's work, hire that person. Don't try to like, save some money or go a different route and then still expect the same results. Like, that's not going to happen.
I would say another pet peeve, which some of it gets a little deep, because there's also nuance to this. So sometimes I have clients in the fitness world, and I've had there's some great guys, bodybuilders, personal coaches, and that opened up my eyes to also the world of, the lens of body dysmorphia. And there are ones that have a pretty good relationship with themselves and how they view, there's a balance in how they view themselves. But then I've had experience with ones that feel that they just see things in the photos that's not there, and kind of gaslight you to make you think, well, this is there. Yeah. Like the photo's too sharp there. Like, well, you're going to now talk to me about sharpness and contrast and color grading? Do you even know what those terms are?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, your face is your face. I mean, I'm not here to give you a new face.
And nowadays, with how you can edit everything to such a crazy extent, I mean, you see photos on Instagram, and I'm sure you can tell a lot better than most people, but you can tell this person removed their blemishes, or this person removed, like different pieces that kind of fucked with them. But
and those things are not. I'm fine with, like, obviously, okay, some acne. Things like actually is going to detract, little things like that. But I'm a big believer in finding that happy medium where we have textures to our face and our body types. There's variety and there's beauty in that. And no matter who, I try to look for. I think everyone's fantastic, and I'm trying to shoot someone's uniqueness for who they are. It can be a little jarring or a little bit stressful, or a lot stressful to the photographer, if a person is convinced that they see things that are genuinely not there, and then they want you to go back and re-edit everything. Yeah. And what I will say to that is, photographers don't have the time for all of that. B, they're going to charge you for that. Yeah. And then C, there are certain ones, this one, I'm going to say, I'll be willing to work with you on certain things, but we're not going to keep going back and forth when you're wasting both of our time. Yeah, exactly. And there comes a point where it's like, well, by the end of the day, you have, as a photographer, you have to stand your ground and just say, look, I'm willing to let you go. You just paid me. Yeah. After this is a courtesy. Yeah. But I don't have the time to convince you with something that I think it's a little bit deeper. Because I've have clients like that where it's like, it's just absolute hell. Yeah. It's literal hell. I
can only imagine.
So that, I would just say, for a client, if you respect a photographer that you really want to work with, I would suggest you please have some inner peace with yourself, because our photographers are not there to create something that never was,
100%.
And I'm not one of those photographers that will. I won't personally. I just won't put up with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just not.
Well, also,
here for that.
you have been doing this shit for so long. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're a legend in the game, and it's like, so in a sense, you know your worth, and you know what you're bringing to the table. It's not worth like you having to convince somebody of what your worth is to them. It's like, fuck that, man. That's like not. That's
I'm
not
like,
your
well,
style,
bro,
man.
if we're spending too much time with the semantics of
if
stuff,
they want to notice or learn about your
yeah.
worth, then they can go and hire a new fucking photographer, and then realize how bad they wanted to get you back.
Then come back to me.
Exactly. Yeah,
because I'm selling value.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, it doesn't. Does it happen all the time? Not all the time, but it is something to be aware of.
What kind of shoots are your favorite to shoot? Like, what would you say is your like that's my fucking jam?
Well, I definitely love shooting fashion, and I love shooting musicians.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a musician too, and I love shooting a musical conversation that's happening right before your eyes, and the expressions on if it's in a concert, like a big concert, I love that energy.
Yeah.
You can feed off of that energy. And then also when someone on stage is also very interactive, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's a
for
lot
sure.
of fun. I would say, excuse me.
You're good, yeah.
Boys to Men, when they came to Jacksonville for the River Jams last year, I believe, that was insane. Like,
Really?
So the crowds was so big because that was over at the lawn, the big lawn where the Jack's Landing was.
Yeah, yeah.
And funded by ViStar. The crowds went as far back like to the Main Street Bridge.
No way.
Yeah. Nobody since then has been able to fill up the
That's
crowd.
awesome. That's
like
really
that.
awesome.
And because of that, Boys to Men, they're really great with interacting on stage and with the crowd. So they're a really great example of like a big concert photography situation. That's something that I really enjoyed. But I also like really shooting on a jazz musician, string players when on the smaller setting, because it's more intimate.
Yeah.
And it's more conversational. And yet they're giving to the audience as well. A good place for that, I would recommend Wildcrafters. It's a mocktail bar over in 5 Points, and I think it's one of the best places that really honors hiring quality, fine musicians, a variety of genres.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have been performing there, and a ton of people that have been on the podcast too actually perform there.
I performed there. I've done there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've done so I'm classically trained violinist for those that don't know, but I also do blues, bluegrass, and me and my buddy Brady Clampett, when he does a gig over there, we'll do blues. It's guitar and electric violin.
That's awesome.
But I've also gone there as a photographer to just shoot other people because it has I call it like our little tiny desk concert vibe.
Yes.
Because it's so when people go there, they really do go there to chill, hang out. But when it comes to the musicians that are there, they really do show up to listen. And that means the world.
Intimate setting.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an intimate setting, and you feel like you're there. You feel like you're just kind of like sharing someone's house with them.
It does.
It's like that's kind of the vibe of it. It's cool.
Those type of shoots, I love the smaller things.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And that's so fashion and then music. Photography, concert photography.
You've also been doing a ton of the fitness thing since our last episode.
Yes.
Like, that's turned up a lot for you, man.
There's actually a post that at the time, like one of my buddies we posted a photo of a photo I took of him, I think last year or something like that.
Yeah. So how, I mean, obviously, from what we've spoken about, from how much I know you, like,
right.
You've been going to the gym. We both go to the gym. It's like, whatever. But you've actually been taking it to a new level and like seriously like documenting a lot of these people's journeys.
Yeah.
A lot of buff ass, ripped men in there, dude. You've got like some of the guys that you've been taking photos of are like, I didn't even realize this dude is in jacks. They're huge, bro.
Oh, I got
like,
some news with that one.
Yeah, there's some good ones. And there's been some controversy at the place that you've been working at. I'd like to speak on that a little bit if you would.
You can do it.
Would like to. You want to go right into that, or you want to start with just like the whole fitness journey for you?
So we'll tie into that part. So with the fitness journey, that came from when I was working at UPS. When I was at UPS, I was a loader, and I was getting up super early in the morning, working 4 hours, and you are loading 2 or 3 box trucks. And between those box trucks, you could be loading up to maybe 1,000 packages total.
Wow.
One box truck will have maybe 200 pieces. Another one will have maybe 100 plus pieces. And when they hire you, they say you should be able to handle, please be able to handle between 50 to 75 pounds. Not true. This is 100-pound like machine bolt type stuff.
I can only imagine.
You'll get mattresses, you get everything, probably this table.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. And you have to actually be somewhat fast. And because of that, it's like I wanted to get stronger and have good form, because without having the proper techniques, you can get injured. It's
for sure.
Yeah. So that's how my fitness journey started, with reaching out to a buddy of mine at Jim Jacks. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan. Love you, Dan.
I love you, Dan. Big Dan. We go way back.
Dan the man.
Dan. I love Dan. I love that man. Well, because he gave me the foundation of guiding me around basically strength training and being more comfortable working with free weights and machines around the Jim Jacks. That's where I was going, because the hub that I was at, it was not too far off from the Jim Jacks.
Okay, cool.
And so I was basically going for a year straight, and I was weighing 230 at the time, and I was down to like 195.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my biggest thing was like, I just wanted to be stronger. I wasn't trying to be like Mr. Atlas or anything like that, but just be confident enough, be strong enough to like handle a variety of situations. And because with that job at UPS, I graduated to being a driver for a bit. And it's a lot of getting in and out of the box truck and going upstairs and handling a dolly. And there's techniques to that, but you also got to be quick and efficient. So there's a lot of cardio in that. You get paid to work out. But I was one of the weirdos that would still go to the gym, and come to find out that quite a few other drivers would do the same thing. They would make time to like go to the gym, because, it's a full day.
For sure.
So because of that, it allowed me to, I'll use Dan as an example. He was the first person that I shot. Dan had a bit of experience in the past of doing some competitive bodybuilding, but he's more of a personal trainer. And he showed me the ropes of shooting in technical ways that would fit in the in the bodybuilding fitness world, especially certain things that you got to shoot in a way where a lot of that stuff is about symmetry. There's also some clever camouflage of giving the impression that you're a lot bigger in this one area versus something else. There are some interesting techniques that these guys do that highlights their strengths, because you want to hide your weaknesses.
Playing with shadows and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Certain poses, certain ways that you use your diaphragm, breathing techniques. All of that is, you're presenting a package to the judges. And also to brands, apparel, like fitness apparel brands that look at that stuff too. So that was a really good lesson in learning and getting more technical with portraiture. Most of the time, those guys don't want a whole lot of lots of edits, because you want to be as true as possible to to the physique that they've spent months, years on working on. And that opened the doors to getting acquainted with other folks. Just just ones that I met at the gym naturally that at least gave me the time of day, because I was just kind of like, well, I got more confident when I was like, I had good form.
Yeah.
Was taught good form. And that also kind of gets that little respect level where like, oh, and then when
He knows what he's doing.
yeah, and
exactly.
then when you find out, oh, you can shoot, I'm like, yeah, I can take a photo. And if I'm new to it, I'm like, no, just tell me, and I'll do my due diligence to do my research, and then I just apply from what I've learned.
Yeah.
And so that led into developing a relationship in the local fitness community. Certain ones where, I do offer that, as well as, shooting gym shots, so taking gym photos and working with other personal trainers like Dan, my buddy Max. Hey Max, Brennan, who was Max's trainer. Just a variety of different ones.
Your gym throws in a little bit of a curveball.
Oh yeah.
So we both had a little bit of a rant on Instagram about this.
There were
when you were happening, when it was all happening, going down,
God.
You felt definitely a certain way about it.
Oh way.
So tell me a little bit about this. From what I know is your gym banned photography. Is that correct?
Essentially, they wanted to charge like a venue fee for professional photography or videography, which, looking back on that, and I'm not trying to backtrack.
No, you're
I
fine.
understand it's a small business. It's privately owned. Do what you want.
For sure.
That's your business. But I just think that, not thinking there's a lot more variables in play when a lot of the times these gyms really do profit and benefit from reputable fitness influencers, or you don't have to use not necessarily influencers, but ones that
Gym goers
that document and often share on a daily basis their progress.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a lot of times free press.
Yep.
And while I think you have to think about how that kind of cannibalizes or folks for that are really happy and very loyal to that gym, and all of a sudden they're told, well, actually we want to make more money off of you.
Yeah.
And not figuring out where do you draw the line? Like, how do you define professional? Because a lot of times folks are not everybody has the money to come in and bring a photographer and shoot.
Yeah.
Or a videographer, or both. A lot of times people are using their phones.
Yep.
And these days, our phones are complex enough that you can get a lot done still with the phone these days.
100%.
So that was where I was coming from with that, was like, well, where are you drawing the line? Because what ended up happening was people definitely left. I left.
Yeah.
And I left for other reasons too, where logistically, at that time I was working for switched to FedEx.
Gotcha.
But I still had my Jim Jacks membership, and when all of that stuff was going down, I just felt like I felt like it was capitalism done bad. That's not like, I get it, but I'm like, the execution of that I don't think made a lot of sense. I think it actually forces, because there was another influence that was trying to maneuver things to his benefit,
mm-hmm.
where essentially you would be forcing memberships to only choose one individual to take their photos, when I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's fair at all.
It's not fair, because there's other photographers, there's other videographers that are competent, and you're limiting choice.
Yeah, and you're forcing somebody to team up with somebody in the early going. It's like, dude, like, you never even know. Like, bro, I can't tell you how many photographers I've worked with where it's like, I mean, the first photographer I've ever worked with, in the back of my mind when it was happening, I'm like, this is the fucking best dude in Jax. And then you work with two others and you're like, what was I doing back there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just like, dude, I mean, you can't put somebody in a box like that. Like, come on.
There was a lot more to it as I've come to find out, and also personally confronted, where it's like, there's a lot more to that meets the eye, and it backlashed. Later on, once in there was reasonable ones realized there was a lot there. I think it caused a lot more harm.
Yeah.
And there are ones that are simply they're not going back.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is how I kind of made a comeback.
So you're back at the gym.
But in a different way.
Gotcha.
In a different way. So I don't know. Have you heard of Dexter Jackson?
I've heard of Dexter Jackson, the biggest human to live in Jacksonville, probably.
So I'm doing some work with him.
No way. Oh, that's sick.
And he's at Jim Jacks.
Yeah, he is.
He is literally like the face of Jim Jacks.
So,
the whole
he's
mural,
paying
all
the
that.
fee.
I don't know about all of that.
I mean,
Or
hey,
like, look.
he's a Mr. Olympia, isn't he?
He was 2008 Mr. Olympia.
Yeah,
but he's
so-
won so many titles. He's still the most decorated bodybuilder in the history of that sport.
Yeah, I mean,
to this day.
He's
So
huge.
it's it's very funny. It's funny how it comes full circle.
Yeah.
Because logistics wise, I couldn't continue at Jim Jacks. I had great relationships there. I still do. I was just a bit put off with just like, okay, we're declaring this, and like, well, who's charging?
It's an odd change.
It's an odd change. And at the time, I was like, I look at it like this. I'm like, okay, it's your business, but don't charge the photographer, whoever. If it's going to be like that, then the person who wants to use the space to shoot something. And I also understand the other counter argument of there are people that are not comfortable being seen on camera. Fine, that's never really been an issue there. So maybe that's curtail some of that. I don't know, but I looked at it that if you're going to do that, well, the person who's going to use the Jim Jacks needs to pay the fee. Don't charge the photographers.
They already charge such a hefty fee just for a monthly damn membership up there, bro. And I'm not even trying to I mean, like you said, it's a private business. They can do whatever the fuck they want. So my opinion is literally nothing. But I'm just going to say, I mean, first off, there's a reason why it's like 90% fitness influencers going to that fucking gym.
Yeah.
And it's literally it's like going to like Zoo in LA or something. It's like these big gyms where it's like, or Gold's Gym or any of these big gyms where it's like, everyone's there with their fucking camera, with their phone all pulled out and stuff. And they're all paying, like upwards $40-$50 just to work out in this space per month. And so then for you to just it just seems like at some point, when are people gonna put their foot down and be like, all right, stop taking advantage of us just because every single person in this gym is doing that,
So as of now, me and a buddy are working on a project with Dexter Jackson that obviously he's shooting there. So it was kind of funny to go back there. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's up? Like, it's been a minute. How you
the most
doing?
awkward comeback ever.
It was a little awkward. No, it's awkward and sweet at the same time. Because I've always seen Dexter. He's always been very nice. But he's one of those individuals that, guys will fanboy. And he'll be nice, but also leave him alone.
Especially when he's working on his physique and shit. Come on, that's serious.
He's still maintaining. He's in his 50s and he looks incredible.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. He's a freaking stud, man. So
it was fascinating coming back working on this project with him. And there's some new things that I saw in there, but I haven't really heard whether the $50 charge has been enforced since then.
Gotcha.
I think there was a lot. It definitely was.
So
that's
the charge. It was $50 to
shoot in this one area
per month.
Whenever, if you're using that area,
if you
not
were
per
to
month.
come in,
it wasn't a monthly thing.
Oh, so it's that day. Like if you want to come in and shoot that day, it's $50.
$50
per day.
No, not per day. So let's say if you wanted to come in, I see what you mean. Well, that's the question. That actually wasn't ever fleshed out. Like, is it? Let's say I want to do 2 days of shooting.
Exactly.
Well, 50 days. $50 for both days. Those questions were never there was a lot of questions. It was
so this never went through.
I don't think it stuck.
It can't stick,
It
bro. How the fuck is
No.
that gonna stick, bro? It's a gym.
I don't know.
Especially it's like an influencer gym. Y'all have
It
a damn
is.
turf turf
Yeah.
field in there, whatever the hell it is.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
get that shit out of here, bro. Like that is the. I mean,
I don't think it's.
I kind of in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted something like I wanted them to enforce it and just watch like what happens. Like I bet you if they would have seriously gone with that, you wouldn't have seen a car in the parking lot, dude.
Other
Like
podcast was talking.
God,
about it, too.
dude.
It went. I was like.
That shit pisses me off, bro. Because I mean, even
did.
though I don't do that, it's still like
I guess it felt hurtful. It felt
Yeah.
like, it hit me in a different way where like, I've literally been here a year.
are you that money hungry?
I was like, I've taken wonderful photos in there.
Yeah,
I didn't get no reposts.
yeah. Come on, now.
Anyway, except for the people
that's
that
pet
brought
peeve
me,
number one.
I was like, come on now. It's all like, we're all over the place. But that's what made it interesting now with Dexter, where that's his gym. That is his gym. He ain't leaving that gym.
Yeah,
So it's fascinating to be back, and I'm coming. Like we've done a few things already there and around there, where I'm not sure if that whole $50 thing ever really stuck. I haven't heard much of anything else about it because since then, like I joined Bailey's near my house, and then I'm actually doing a marketing partnership with 1440 Fitness Jacks.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yes, so you're gonna be seeing a lot of that. There's
Hell
some
yeah.
really cool folks over there.
Yeah.
Really cool. That's a cool gym.
I'm excited for that.
The
collab,
owner
man.
there, Chris Carmen. What's up, Chris?
Chris.
That gym is interesting. There are certain comparisons as well as definite contrasts where he came in from New York, had a successful gym up there, and he is an example of ones that entrepreneurs that come to Jacksonville that see the potential, want to blow it up. The fitness scene in of itself here in Jacksonville is bigger than I thought. Way bigger than I thought since entering that genre of photography, and how with the CrossFit scene, the bodybuilding scene, there's a powerlifting scene, which
For sure.
that's opened up a different avenue at 1440, where getting to meet ones that gym is for everybody, but it bends towards those that are in the strongman powerlifting. There's like stones you can like
Yeah,
pick up
yeah.
and all that stuff. Like I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
There are leg machines there that I'm like, no one has that. So, and then there are some friends I have that still go to Jim Jacks and then 1440 because what I've learned is like some go to a gym to get these list of things accomplished and then choose another gym where they feel like the machines there are better for what they're trying to accomplish.
For sure.
And that's fascinating to me. So yes, there's ones that want me to come back, and I love my Jim Jacks family, and for the ones that I have personally vibed with, and for the sake of convenience, that's their gym.
Yeah.
The other component to it, I'm just kind of like, I really think that needs to be reassessed. Has it been? I don't really know, but it is fascinating to come back. I feel like as a guest, with Dexter Jackson.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you just
Yeah.
one thing to close it out because
Yeah.
I know you got places to be and things to do, man. But what is your biggest takeaway from working with Dexter Jackson? What's your biggest takeaway from shooting Dexter Jackson?
He knows what he wants, and that's what I like. And it's really cool to work with someone that sees and respects your hustle and that is willing to bring you on to a bigger project of what they're trying to accomplish. And he is a good example of someone that communicates exactly what they want, what they don't want, and that makes my life easier, a lot easier. And yeah, it's humbling too, because I feel like there's still things there that I still appreciate at Jim Jacks, where it all started with shooting one person that led to other people and just really trying to get better at that style. And it's led me to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's been around, like he was there when I was there, and of course a lot of people come up to him, but he was aware of my existence. It also was very encouraging to me when I was, trying to work on my fitness goals. And now to come back full circle and now work more intimately on his comeback project.
One of the biggest bodybuilders of all time.
Is really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I love that.
And that's something that, you just keep working on your craft. Never stop working. Never feel that you're at this comfortable place where you don't really need to study light anymore or colors, things of that nature. Because now when you're working with a bigger client, that's where it's like, I call it like the boss battle of a video game. Like, now let's see what you've learned.
Yeah.
What kind of techniques, how adaptable, how professional are you in handling different scenarios or inquiries that come your way with this? Are you transparent enough to say, I think it would be better, or I would say, are you brave enough and tactful enough to say, you know what, I think that is a cool idea. How let's add this to it.
Yeah.
And really help one see the vision.
Be more of a director as well as just the photographer.
And also, I attribute that too with the short amount of time I've been with 904 Happy Hour, because I'm doing that all the time now of help creating a vision for a client in terms of creating, like, this is how I want to create this social media marketing campaign for you, tailoring it to you. So it's really important to learn how to be adaptable, versatile, as well as confident in your skills, and also being straight up honest, saying, look, that's not my area.
Yeah.
Let me refer you to something else or somebody else.
Yeah.
And they respect you for that.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's like dream collab, bro. You and fucking, the man Dexter Jackson, bro. So, that's a goat behind the lens and a goat in front of it too. So it's like, that's super cool, man. I'm excited to see all the work you guys come out with together.
It's me and my buddy Charlie Woods. I want to make that point in saying that. So
hell yeah,
we're a cool dynamic duo. He's a videographer. He is incredible.
Shout out Charlie Woods, man. I'd love to get
Charlie.
him on the
I
pod
love you.
Too. Yeah, Charlie. We both fucking love you, man. You're the shit, dude. So Jordan, thank you for coming through, bro.
Thank you so much for having me.
I enjoy our conversation so much together, man, and I just love, bouncing ideas off of you and just hearing your perspective on so many things. You're such a knowledgeable guy. You're such a legend in your field, man, and everything that you go after, bro, you kill it, man, and it's fun watching you taking notes. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's right. So, shout out to all my OGs. Shout out to everybody that watched this episode, man. If you are enjoying these episodes, make sure you give us that 5-star rating on wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, wherever, Player FM. We got all the spots locked down. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. We are trying to run up the subscribers. We got a big surprise coming for y'all when we hit 100 subscribers. And, like this video, comment, engage with the content, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.